guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name's Alexa, and I post mostly bookish content and vlogs. In today's video, I will be talking to you guys, I will be giving you guys tips on how to read more. Because a lot of people often ask me how I read as much as I do, and okay, so little disclaimer, I do all these things, but I'm also a very fast reader. I read about 200 pages an hour, so don't be like, oh, I haven't read as much as you if you're like a slower reader, and wonder what you're doing wrong, because you're not doing anything wrong. And anyway, there's no shame in like any amount, like you don't have to read a specific amount of books a year or a month to be a reader. Like you could read 3 books in a year and be a reader, you know? But yeah, I will be talking to you. I think I have 9 tips. Yeah, let's get into this video. So the first tip is to read on your commute, so like in public transport, not in your car. I mean, in your car you could listen to an audio. So yeah, read on your commute to work or to school. So for example, for me, when I go to school, I take the bus and the subway, so I read on my Kindle or a physical book in the bus. I don't read like in the metro or the subway because I just don't, but I read a lot. Like I have like about a 40-minute bus ride sometimes. Depends on where I'm going, of course, but like I feel like you can get a lot of reading done that way. And that's also if you don't have any, like, I don't know, like if you don't get sick in public transport or like in just general transport. So like, I don't know, if we're going to see family, and my parents are driving, I'll be reading in the car, or like I'll put my headphones on. So that is one way that I read a lot, like, because especially during like the school year, I'm always reading in the bus. So yeah, that's the first tip. Okay, so the second tip is kind of related to the first one, and it's to listen to audiobooks while you're doing some chores. So for example, I don't know, you have to clean your room, or you have to wash the floors in the house, do the dishes, empty the dishwasher. I usually just pop my headphones in and I start listening to an audiobook. What I do most of the times, I'll start the book as an audiobook and then I'll finish it, like I'll finish the physical copy or like the ebook, because I cannot just sit down and listen to an audiobook. So if you have any chores, or if you just have something to do, I don't know, some like just basic work on the computer that doesn't require too much of your attention, you could be listening to an audiobook. So the second tip is to have a dedicated reading time. For me, that dedicated reading time is sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes is 1 hour before I go to bed. Like before I fall asleep, I like actually try to fall asleep. I'll just sit in my bed, I'll be in my pajamas, I'll have some water or whatever, like a tea with me, like next to me, and I'll just sit down and read in my bed. So sometimes when I'm like in a reading slump, just like these past 2 weeks, I won't be reading my bed. Like, I'll be honest, I do sometimes prefer scrolling on TikTok, but most of the time I try to have that as my dedicated reading time, because it's like a wind down time and I don't have to be on a screen like my phone. I can just be reading on like a physical book or on my Kindle. So that's my main reading time. Because yes, I read in the bus, but it's kind of rare that I'll just sit down during the day and start reading. But yeah, and so the fourth tip is to read some fast-paced books. So what I find, like if I'm in a slump, I'll read a fast-paced book, or if I'm like not reading as much as I am, I'll just pick up a fast-paced book that'll just get me in the reading mood like after that, and almost often works. Like some recommendations that I have right here: The Inheritance Games, or like, I don't know, Good Girl's Guide to Murder, some recommendations that I have, or like the Shadowy series. So yeah, if you definitely like have trouble getting into books sometimes and you're like, I just want to read more, read some fast-paced books. Go search on TikTok like fast-paced YA books. Those are the best if you really want to like start reading more. So that is definitely one of my main tips, or like reread a book. My next tip is to always have a book with you. This I do all the time. So wherever I go, even if it's just for errands, I'll always have a book with me, whether it's on my phone or whatever. But most of the time I'll bring my Kindle or my current read. And whenever I have like, I don't know, a 5-minute break, or I have like to wait in a waiting room for an appointment, I'll just open my book and start reading. And sometimes like for an appointment, like the person will be 15 minutes late, and during that 15 minutes you could get like some reading done. And like 15 minutes is a lot of reading time, and sometimes when you just add up all those little moments where, like, I don't know, you're waiting for food at a restaurant, like, I don't know, you're at Panera Bread and you're waiting for your food, you could just read there, and like it's just the perfect moment. And when you add all of those moments up during the day, it could be almost like an hour of reading, which is a lot. Like, when you consider all of those little moments that you would have usually just picked up your phone, that you actually picked up a book, you're getting a lot more reading done. So my next tip is one that I use all the time because I cannot read one book at once, like only one book at a time, and it's to read multiple books at a time. So sometimes I'll have like a few physical books that I'm like, I don't know, 100 pages through. Sometimes I'll just pick up this one, finish it, or read 100 pages, or I'll read another one. And as someone with ADHD, it's the best way, I feel, for me to like read a lot. I just like switch between books and I remember all the plots, so it's very easy. So like, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, some books I'm 100 pages through and I'm like, oh, I'm not feeling it. I won't force myself through it. I'll just be like, okay, I'll start another book, I'll finish this book maybe in a few months or maybe in a few days. And that is how I don't also get into any like slumps. I almost never fully DNF a book. I just put it away for like a few weeks, and sometimes I'll pick it back up a year later, sometimes it'll be 2 weeks later, sometimes it'll be 4 days later. So my next tip is to have multiple book formats, and what I mean by that is to always have an audiobook on your phone. I recommend to not have to pay $40 a month. I recommend not a month, a book. I recommend Libby, which is an app basically that's like, you connect your library card and they have basically, I know in my province it's like the whole province has this collection, and these libraries kind of all share them. And there's always there's so many books on there, and it's free with your library card. And I just always have an audiobook on there. I'll have an ebook on my phone on there. I'll have an ebook on my Kindle, so I can read that ebook either on my phone on the Kindle app or on my actual Kindle. Or I'll have a ebook, and I'll have a physical book with me, and sometimes I'll have like multiple genres in all of those, which, if you're a person who doesn't remember like the plots of a book, like if you can't switch between different books, I don't recommend this. But I recommend then in that situation you could have the ebook, the audiobook, and if you have it physically, you have a physical copy with you, so you can always switch between all those different formats with the same book and finish it a lot quicker. The second to last tips is to to do reading sprints. I know a lot of either book talkers do it on their Instagram lives, or like, I don't know, there'll be some people doing on Discord servers of like books. So basically what you do is you have a, 25-minute timer. It's kind of like the Pomodoro technique with studying. You read as much as you can in 25 minutes and then you take a little break. And then you do that continuously. And I feel like sometimes for me, when I'm not fully in the mood for reading, but I want to read, but I don't want to read too much, I'll just, I'm not fully in the mood for reading, I'll just I'll start a 25-minute timer or a 15-minute timer, and I'll start reading, and after that 15 timer, most of the time I'll just dismiss it and continue reading, just because I get into the book and I never want to stop. So that's definitely a trick. It's just with studying, sometimes I'll start, I'm like, okay, I'll just do this for 5 minutes and then I'll stop, and then I never stop. And my last tip is to watch read with me videos on YouTube. At least this works for me. Basically for me, it motivates me when I see someone reading at the same time. So I just put the video, it has some little lo-fi music and some rain sounds or whatever, and it'll just help me concentrate on the book a lot more, and it'll motivate me to read more and more, because sometimes in my head I'm like, oh, I'm doing a competition, and I'm still reading everything as well, but it's just my brain is getting the information faster. So yeah, those were all the tips that I have for you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider commenting, liking, subscribing. If you want more of my content, go to my link tree in the description of this video, which has my TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, Spotify, all of my links are in there. Also, I have currently like building it up. I only have like 2 lists on it so far. But I have something called like Ben Nabel or whatever. I can't remember what it's called, but it's under like it's written my recommendations, and I have some lists of books and like the makeup that I use on daily, and I'm trying to like just put all my favorite products on there. They'll be where they are affiliate links, so I do get like a small commission off of it. So like if you don't want to support me monetarily, then I guess like you don't have to buy them from there. But yeah, I just have that there, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day, week, day, evening, morning, whatever time it is for you guys. So yeah, bye.